Hi everyone, this is Irene. I hope all are safe and healthy at home, stay safe, and stay connected with us. You are watching Vidya Lakshmi Senior Secondary School's YouTube channel. Join us to celebrate the joy of learning at Vidya Lakshmi Senior Secondary School. In my previous video, you have learned about fundamentals of Python, introduction to Python programming, what is a character set, what are tokens in Python, and also you have learned about one of the tokens, keywords. In this video, you are going to learn the next token, identifiers. Let us begin now. Identifiers. What are identifiers? Identifiers are the names given to different parts of the program, namely variables, objects, classes, functions, lists, and dictionaries. These are the user-defined names given to different parts of the program. Naming rules of Python. While naming the identifier in Python, we have to follow some certain set of rules. Let us see all the rules of naming the identifiers in Python. An identifier is an arbitrarily long sequence of letters and digits, so it accepts all the letters and digits. The first character must be a letter. The underscore counts as a letter. So, suppose if I wanted to name a variable, I start with n, the letter, and I am assigning with value number 10. This is a valid identifier. So, this can accept the underscore also. It counts underscore as a letter. So, I can even create an identifier as underscore n. This is also accepted as a valid identifier in Python. So, identifier consists of letters and numbers. Even this underscore also it considered as a letter. It should begin with the letter according to the rules given. And then upper and lowercase letters are different. All characters are significant. The uppercase letters and lowercase letters are different. So if I create a variable a and assign with the value 2, and also if I create a variable uppercase a and I am assigning with the value 3. These two variables are different variables, though they are same alphabet and their case is different. So, these two are different. According to the rule of Python naming rules, upper and lower cases are different. That's why these two variables are different variables in Python programming language. The digits 0 through 9 can be part of the identifier except for the first character. We can use digits 0 through 9, but in the first character we cannot use the number, right? So, I can use n2 equal to number 10, but I cannot use 2n equal to number 10. This becomes an invalid one. The reason it begins with a number. Okay, so according to the naming rule, it can have a number. Here there is a number, but it should not begin with a number. Identifiers are unlimited in length. In some programming languages, there is a limit for number of characters, but here there is no limit for Python identifiers. It can have any number of characters. Case is significant, that is Python is case sensitive as it treats upper and lower case characters differently. Just now we have seen an example, upper and lower case letters are different. So here case is sensitive. That's why we call Python programming language as a case sensitive programming language. An identifier must not be a keyword of Python. We have learned so many keywords. Those keywords should not be a identifier names. For example, we have learned for, return, break, all these are keywords. Those keywords should not be used as a name for identifiers like a variable name or function name or list name. We should not name all those keywords as the identifiers of Python. That is another rule. And then an identifier cannot contain any special characters except for underscore. Underscore is also a special character. Among all special characters, only underscore is accepted. So, we have learned about all the rules of naming the identifiers. Now, let us see what are the valid identifiers and how a valid identifier can be. So this is a valid identifier. Num is a valid identifier because it consists of only the letters. Uppercase and lowercase letters are accepted. So this is a valid identifier. My object, this is also a valid identifier because it consists of fully the letters. And underscore value 1, this is also a valid identifier. As it begins with the underscore, it is counted as a letter. So this is a valid identifier. Num1, 1 is a part of this identifier. At the end only it has come, so this is a valid identifier. Variable var, this is also a valid identifier. File1, this is a valid identifier. The number has come at the end only. And then first underscore num we have used, as we have used the special symbol underscore as it is accepted by Python programming language. This is also a valid identifier. We have data. This data is also a valid identifier. Even fully uppercase and fully lowercase, everything is accepted as identifier names, right? So data and date, all these are the valid identifiers. Now let us see how the invalid identifiers will be. So here num is an invalid identifier. What is the reason? It begins with the special symbol, right? That's why this becomes an invalid identifier. Again, my underscore object, this is also, it's not an underscore, it is a hyphen. So my hyphen object, this is an invalid identifier. The reason is the hyphen, it is a special character, right, that has been used. That's why this is an invalid identifier. One underscore value, we have used underscore only, but we have started with a number. That's why this becomes an invalid identifier. Here num at 1, right? So this becomes an invalid identifier. The reason is we have used a special symbol at. That's why this becomes an invalid identifier. Here we have used only characters only, but this has become an invalid identifier. What is the reason? This is the keyword. That's why it has become an invalid identifier. We have used file.1. Dot is a special character or symbol. That's why this becomes an invalid identifier. Here we have used only characters only, but we have used a special symbol space, right? That's why this becomes an invalid identifier. Here we have used false. The first letter begins with a capital letter, so this becomes a keyword. Keyword should not be a identifier name. That's why this becomes an invalid identifier. The next one is break. Break is also a keyword. The keyword should not be used as an identifier name. That's why this also becomes an invalid identifier. In this session, you have learned about identifiers and the naming rules of identifiers and what are valid and invalid identifiers. What is the reason of valid and invalid identifiers? You have learned everything. Let us move on to recapitulation. Identifiers are user-defined names given to different parts of the program, namely variables, objects, and functions. So identifiers are user-defined names. It is given to different parts of the program. We may name a variable, we may name an object or functions or classes, right? Identifiers can have letters, digits, and a special symbol underscore. So identifiers can have letters, numbers, and also the special symbol underscore. Identifiers must begin with either a letter or underscore. The identifiers must begin with a letter or underscore. It should not begin with a number. Let us move on to the quiz corner. The first question. Identify the valid identifier or identifiers from the following. We have to identify the valid identifier, right? So we know the rules of valid identifiers. Identifiers can have a numbers, letters, and underscore. It should begin with a letter. Even underscore also counts as a letter. All the special symbols and keywords are not allowed, right? According to that, we have to find the valid identifier here. So let us find now one. So here num, it starts with the letters only. At the end only, it has a number. So this is a valid identifier. And next one is true. True is a keyword. So this is an invalid identifier. So next one is none. None is also a keyword, right? So this is also an invalid identifier. True, though true is a keyword, it begins with a lowercase letter. So this is a valid identifier, right? So according to that, what is that answer? We'll just see here. The answer is num1 and true. These both are the valid identifiers from the given question. The next question, identify the invalid identifiers from the following. We have to identify the incorrect keywords from this. So, whichever identifier is wrong, that we have to identify from here. Here we have for, right? For is a keyword, so that's why this becomes a invalid identifier. And A1, it begins with a letter and number is a part of this identifier. So, this is actually the valid one, but here in our question, only invalid identifier is asked. So, let us just omit this. And then the next one is underscore value. Underscore value also a valid identifier. So, let us omit this also. Here you can see num space 1 is there, right? So, space is a special symbol that is not accepted. So, this is also invalid identifier, right? According to the question, let us see what is the answer. The answer is for as well as num space 1. These two are becoming an invalid identifiers. So, in this session, you have learned about one of the tokens of Python, that is identifiers. In the coming videos, we will see the other tokens of Python. Until then, bye from Irene. Stay connected with us. Thank you.